Divorced men. What happened when she begged for another chance? Story 1. I was zipping up my suit for my second wedding when my phone started blowing up. Unknown number. Please, it's me. Don't marry her. I'm outside. I thought it was a prank until my sister ran into the room, pale. She's here, in the parking lot. My ex-wife, the woman who once called me boring, unambitious, emotionally unavailable, was standing on the curb in a cocktail dress, mascara streaked, holding a gift bag like she'd been invited. We'd been divorced for 3 years. She left me for a guy from her gym, married him in 6 months, and posted finally with a real man all over Instagram. Gym guy cheated, burned through her savings, and left. Meanwhile, I quietly built the small business I started right after the divorce. It took off. New truck, new house, new confidence. That's when she started liking my posts again. Now she was crying in front of my family, saying she'd made a mistake. I was stupid, okay? You were the safe choice, the kind man. I threw away my soulmate. Just don't do this. We can fix it. My mom was crying. My dad looked furious. My fiancé was inside, unaware. I walked up to my ex and she grabbed my hands like muscle memory. I'll go to counseling. I'll sign anything. Just don't marry her because you're hurt. Something in me snapped into focus. I'm not marrying her because I'm hurt, I said. I'm marrying her because she never made me feel like a backup plan. Her face collapsed. My sister gently took her arm and led her away as my ex started begging louder, saying she'd accept any conditions, that she'd prove it. The chapel doors shut behind me. I could still hear her yelling my name as the music started. Story 2. Our divorce was final 2 years ago and it was messy. She cheated, tried to paint me as controlling, and went for full custody plus alimony. The court saw through most of it. We ended up with 50-50 and no support either way. For 2 years, every custody exchange was tension. She'd show up late, roll her eyes, talk trash about me under her breath where the kids could accidentally hear. I documented everything, kept my mouth shut, stayed boring and consistent. Then I got promoted. New role, much higher pay, company car. The kids suddenly came back from her place talking about mommy's money problems and how mommy might have to move in with grandma. I guess her boyfriend bailed and her hours got cut. One night, after I dropped the kids at her house, she texted, "I'm outside. Can we talk?" I walked out to find her sitting on my porch steps crying. Like ugly crying. "I'm so sorry," she said. "I was angry and stupid and listened to bad advice. We had something good and I destroyed it. Please, can we try again?" The kids would be so happy if we were a family. Old me would have folded instantly. I still remembered the good years. But I also remembered standing in court while her lawyer read a list of lies about me being emotionally abusive, just so she could get more money. So I asked her if I'd lost that case, if you'd gotten full custody and the house and support, would you be here right now? She froze. Her mouth opened, closed. No sound. "That's what I thought," I said. "I'll always respect you as the kid's mom. But I'm never giving someone the power to destroy me twice." She literally slid off the step to her knees, grabbing my hand, whisper begging. The porch light was on. Neighbors were out. It was humiliating for both of us. I gently pulled my hand away, went inside, and locked the door. The kids still have 2 parents. I just don't have a wife anymore, and that's by choice. Story 3. When she begged for another chance, the worst part was realizing I kind of wanted to say yes. We divorced because of a one-time mistake that turned out to be a 6-month affair with a coworker. She swore it was about feeling seen. I moved into a crappy apartment, used thrift store furniture, and tried not to imagine them in our bed. Fast forward a year, I hit the gym out of pure rage, got therapy because I couldn't sleep, and stopped drinking. I got promoted, moved into a nicer place, and, ironically, finally became the man she'd always accused me of not trying to be. One night, there was a knock on my door. It was her. No makeup, hoodie, holding a Tupperware of lasagna like we were still married. "I'm not here to manipulate you," she started, which is exactly what manipulators say. "He was a mistake. He's gone. I've been working on myself. I'm not asking you to forget, just to consider trying again," she cried. She admitted things I never thought she'd admit, about how she liked the attention, how she was bored, how she thought I'd chase her. "I thought you would fight for me," she said. "Instead, you actually let me go." That broke me. I told her the truth. I did fight for you. I fought by not begging someone who didn't pick me. There was a long, horrible silence. Then she whispered, "But you still love me, right?" And I did, in some twisted, leftover way. That's what made it cruel. "I love who I thought you were," I said. "I don't trust who you actually are." She started bargaining. Couples therapy, starting slow, living separately for a while. She swore up and down that she'd accept any boundary. I almost cracked, until she said, "You've changed so much. I don't want someone else to reap what I built. That sentence saved me. It wasn't about love. It was about ownership. I walked her to the door, handed her back the lasagna, and told her the second chance already happened. It was when I didn't destroy her in court. There wouldn't be a third. Story 4. I met my ex-wife again in a place I never thought I would. The lobby of my own office. She was waiting on one of the couches, twisting the strap of her bag. We hadn't seen each other in 4 years. She'd left during my lowest point. Layoffs, depression, bills piling up. I didn't sign up to be poor, she'd said, packing her things. I scraped by on freelance gigs, took every contract I could, slept 5 hours a night. Somehow, the business worked. One client turned into 3, then 10. One day, I realized my company was big enough to have its own lobby. And now she was sitting in it. I saw your interview on LinkedIn, she said softly. I've been following your company. I'm proud of you. She asked if we could get coffee, just as old friends. We ended up at the cafe across the street where we used to split a muffin because money was tight. This time she didn't look at the prices. After 10 minutes of small talk, she broke. Tears, shaking hands, the whole thing. I made the biggest mistake of my life, she said. I thought you were a dead end. I didn't believe in your dream. I left right before everything turned around. I've been watching you build the life we talked about, and I can't stand that I'm not part of it. Please. Can we try again? For a second, my brain flashed to an alternate universe. The one where I succeeded with her. Where she stuck around in the ugly years. I would have given her the world. But this wasn't that universe. In this one, she left when the ROI looked bad. I asked, if my company had failed, would you be here right now? She didn't even pretend to answer. Silence said enough. I'm glad you're doing better, I told her. I hope you find what you're looking for. But you didn't just leave a boyfriend. You walked away from the version of me nobody else believed in. That man remembers, she begged. Right there in the cafe, clutching my hand, promising prenups, separate accounts, therapy, whatever. People stared. I stood up, dropped cash on the table, and said, you're asking for another chance at my success, not at me. Then I walked back to the office with the stupid little muffin we used to share, and for the first time, it actually tasted sweet. Story 5. My story's a bit different because I actually gave her the second chance she begged for, and that's what finally killed it. We divorced over 1,000 cuts, not one big affair. Her flirting jokes, hidden DMs, emotional affairs that were just friends, constant comments about how other men took care of their women better. No smoking gun, just constant erosion. A year after the divorce, she showed up at my apartment building in the rain like a cliché. I've been in therapy. I get it now, she said. I sabotaged everything because I was scared. Please, can we just start talking again? Against my better judgment, we did. Coffee, texts, long calls at night. She owned up to things I never thought she'd admit. My friends said I was crazy, but it felt like getting the person back I'd fallen for before all the poison. We dated quietly for 3 months. No social media, no labels, just seeing where it goes. I thought maybe we were that rare couple who actually comes back stronger. Then one night, her phone lit up while she was in the shower. I didn't go through it. I just saw the banner, can't talk with him. He actually took me back group chat. Her 2 best friends, the same ones who cheered her through the divorce, called me boring, encouraged her to live a little. My stomach dropped. When she came out, I told her to unlock her phone and hand it to me. She tried to deflect, then to guilt trip, then to cry. I read enough to get the whole picture. I was a backup plan, a safe net, better than being alone. She dropped to her knees in my living room, sobbing, begging, promising to block them, change, do anything. I didn't mean it like that, I swear, I'm just stupid, she kept repeating. I realized the problem wasn't lack of chances. I'd already given her more chances than she deserved. So I opened the door and said, you were right the first time. I am the safe option. Safe from you. And I'm choosing to keep it that way. She left screaming and crying down the hallway. My neighbors probably think I'm a monster. But I finally stopped begging for crumbs from someone who only comes back when the world outside is colder than what she walked away from. Story 6. The last place I expected her to beg for another chance was in an ER waiting room. Our son had taken a nasty fall at the playground. I got the call, rushed over, heart in my throat. When I burst into the pediatric ER, she was already there, pacing. We'd been divorced for 1.5 years, talking only about schedules and school lunches. The nurse took our son for x-rays, leaving us alone with the buzzing fluorescent lights. She stared at me like she was seeing a ghost. You came fast, she said quietly. He's my kid, I answered. Silence stretched. Then she cracked. Tears started pouring. I miss this, she blurted. Us. You. I know I destroyed it. I know I don't deserve anything. But seeing you run in, you're still the only person I really trust. Can we please try again? I remembered the night she'd told me she deserved passion and moved out to be with a guy she'd known for 3 months. My son crying in his bedroom, asking if I'd done something wrong. Her lawyer later pushing for more child support because he earns more now. I've changed, she insisted. He was a mistake. I've been single for months. I've been going to therapy, working on myself, really. I thought you'd moved on and didn't care. I laughed, and it came out harsher than I meant. Didn't care? I rebuilt everything while you were playing soulmate roulette. She slid into the chair next to me, grabbing my hand like she had any right. I'll sign a postnup, I'll keep my finances separate, I'll do counseling, I'll do anything. I just want my family back. That's when the doctor stepped out and called our son's name. We both stood up. I gently pulled my hand away. You'll always be his mom, I said. We'll always be here together when he needs us. But that's where it ends. Later, as our son dozed with a cast on his arm, she whispered again, I'm begging you. I tucked the blanket around him and answered without looking at her. You begged for freedom once. You got it. I'm not taking it back. Story 7. She didn't start begging until the day her new life finally collapsed. When we divorced, she told everyone I'd held her back. She moved into a luxury high-rise with her new boyfriend, launched an Instagram full of brunches, trips, and soft life captions. I stayed in our smaller, slightly run-down house because I could actually afford the mortgage. I focused on work, fixed the house up myself, and paid off debt. Quiet, unglamorous stuff. 2 years later, there was a knock on my door at 10 p.m. She stood there with 2 suitcases and swollen eyes. No designer bag, no fake laugh energy. Can I come in? She asked. Turns out the new boyfriend got indicted for some shady business. His account's frozen. The lease was in his name. She had nowhere to go that night. Her parents were disappointed and refused to bail her out again. I just need a few days, she said, for our history. Please. Against my better judgment, I let her sleep in the guest room. The next morning, she made coffee like old times, humming in my kitchen. This feels right, she said, watching me. We were good together, you know? We could still be. You've done so well with the house. You look happy. I could help. We could rebuild. There it was. I asked, would you be here if he hadn't gotten caught? She swallowed hard and stared at her mug. I'm being honest now, she said, finally looking up. I thought I'd traded up. I really did. And watching you quietly build everything we talked about without me, it broke me. I miss you. I miss us. Please, I'm begging you. Let's start over. I'll sign anything. I'll contribute. I'll get a job. Just don't shut the door. I realized she didn't want me. She wanted a stable landing pad that happened to be shaped like me. You can stay here for 3 days, I said, as a human being helping another human being. After that, you need a new plan. There is no us in that plan. She started crying, saying I was cruel and cold now. Maybe. Or maybe I finally learned that not every plea for a second chance is about love. Sometimes it's just a panic button when the upgrade fails. Story 8. The begging didn't happen in private. It happened at our daughter's school play. We hadn't spoken beyond pick up at 5 texts in months. After the divorce, she moved in with a guy who loved partying more than parenting. I stayed boring and predictable. Homework, bedtime, weekend pancakes. The school put on a small musical. My daughter had 1 line and 3 seconds center stage, and I was stupidly excited. I got there early, front row, flowers in hand. 10 minutes before curtain, my ex rushed in, breathless, sliding into the empty seat next to me. I almost didn't make it, she whispered, like that was adorable. The lights dimmed. Kids sang, parents recorded. Our daughter nailed her line, spotted us, and beamed. For a moment, it almost felt like we were still a family. Afterward, in the chaotic crowd, my ex pulled me into an empty hallway. I can't do this anymore, she blurted. I miss sitting next to you, cheering for her together, going home as a family. I made a horrible mistake leaving. Please, can we fix this? For her? For her, I repeated. Where were you last month when you forgot to pick her up from practice? She started crying so hard her mascara streaked. Parents walked past, pretending not to stare. I know, I've been terrible, she sobbed. I got so lost. I thought I wanted excitement, and I ended up with chaos. You were always steady. You were home. I want that back. I'm begging you. I'll do therapy, rehab, anything you want. Just don't shut me out forever. I looked through the classroom window at our daughter laughing with her friends, clutching her little bouquet. You're her mom. I wouldn't shut you out even if I wanted to, I said. But you're asking me to hand you my heart again like the last time you dropped it. That's not happening. She slid down the wall, literally on the floor in the school hallway, pleading under her breath. A teacher stepped in to ask if everything was okay. Everything's fine, I said. She's just realizing the play is over. I took our daughter's hand and walked her to the car. In the rearview mirror, I saw my ex standing alone in the parking lot, still crying. For once, I didn't feel guilty for driving away. Story 9. My ex didn't beg in person at first. She started with little friendly messages. We'd been divorced 3 years. I'd gone no contact except for necessary communication about the paperwork. No kids. She left because she was too young to settle. And apparently settling meant not going on dates with coworkers behind my back. I blocked her everywhere right after the divorce. 6 months ago, I unblocked her on one platform by accident when I changed phones. Within a week, she slid into my DMs. Hey stranger, just wanted to say you look great. Hope you're happy. I ignored it. Then came, I've been thinking about us a lot. Then, can we talk? I owe you an apology. Curiosity 1. We met at a neutral cafe. She showed up looking nervous and tired. No more party girl energy. She launched into a monologue about regrets. How she'd believed her friends that there's always someone better. How she'd chased attention. How the exciting guys never stayed. You were the only one who always showed up, she said. I didn't realize how rare that is. I listened. Then I stood up to leave. That's when she grabbed my wrist. Please don't go yet, she said, eyes wide. I still love you. I know I messed up, but people change. We could start over. I'm not asking you to forget, just to let me show you. I'll sign a prenup. I'll move slowly. I'll put in the work. Please, I'm begging you. Old me would have melted. New me heard something off. Why now? I asked. Why this week? She hesitated. Then the truth slipped out. Her lease was ending. Her roommate getting married. Rent skyrocketing. She'd also just been laid off. So you thought, hey, remember that stable guy I blew up? Maybe he'll take me back, I said. She started protesting, saying it wasn't about money, that I was being unfair. But the timing spoke louder than her words. I hope you figure things out, I told her, genuinely. But you're not coming back into my life because the world stopped giving you options. She literally whispered, I have nowhere else to go. Like that was supposed to trigger my savior complex. I walked out anyway. Loving someone doesn't mean volunteering to be their emergency exit every time their bad decisions catch up with them. Story 10. Our final scene played out in a courthouse hallway, which feels poetic considering everything. We weren't there for divorce. That was already done. We were there because I'd filed to officially modify custody. After 2 years of missed pickups, canceled weekends, and mommy's too tired, my son had started asking why he even had a schedule with her. I didn't want to cut her out. I just wanted the schedule to match reality. Her lawyer had that fake calm, but I could see panic in her eyes. If the judge agreed with me, her official time would drop, and so would some of her leverage. The hearing got delayed an hour, so we were stuck in the hallway together. She stared at the floor for a long time, then looked up with tears. I know what this looks like, she said. I know I've messed up, but I'm trying. I really am. I can't lose my family. Not completely. Please, can we talk? Not as enemies. Just as us. There is no us, I said, keeping my voice low. There's me, you, and our kid, who deserves stability. That's when she stepped closer, lowering her voice. What if we didn't need court? She whispered. What if we fixed this ourselves? I've been going to therapy. I stopped drinking. I even left my boyfriend. I'm different now. We could be a family again. You could withdraw the petition. We could try counseling. I'm begging you. I will do anything you ask. 2 years earlier, she had stood in a different hallway, laughing with that same boyfriend while I signed divorce papers alone. I remember her saying, "You'll thank me one day when you find someone who actually appreciates you." Turns out, that someone was me. Do you remember saying you were finally free? I asked. She nodded shakily, eyes filling. I was stupid. I thought freedom meant no responsibility. I didn't realize freedom just feels like falling when you have no one solid to catch you. The thing is, I said, you're not begging for me. You're begging for the safety of knowing I'll always show up. You already have that as a co-parent. You don't get it back as a wife. The clerk opened the door and called our case. She grabbed my sleeve one last time. Please, she whispered. Just say we don't need this. Give me another chance. I gently pulled my arm free. I am giving someone another chance, I said. Our son. A chance to grow up without wondering why his dad keeps letting the same person hurt him. Then I walked into the courtroom. She followed. But this time, she was the one terrified to lose something she took for granted. Story 11. The irony is she only started begging when I finally stopped hating her. We'd been divorced almost 3 years. She left during her finding myself era. Translation? Sleeping with a guy from her yoga studio who understood her spiritually. I went full cliché. Depression, bad beard, eating from plastic containers alone. Then I slowly dragged myself out. New job, new hobbies, actually making friends. I met Naomi at a climbing gym. We took it slow. Healthy slow. No drama. One Saturday morning, Naomi was at my place making pancakes when the doorbell rang. She wiped her hands, opened it before I could, and froze. It was my ex. Mascara smeared. Hair in a messy bun that used to mean Sunday cute. Now just looked wrecked. She stared at Naomi, then at the pan behind her. "You're cooking?" she asked, like it was a personal insult. I stepped in. "What are you doing here?" She laughed once, sharp and ugly. "He left," she blurted, the enlightened soulmate. "Took our savings, blocked my number. I had to move back into my childhood bedroom. And the whole time I'm lying there, all I can think is, I left the one person who actually loved me." Naomi went quiet and stepped aside. It wasn't her scene. My ex's voice started shaking. "I know I don't deserve anything. I know I treated you like a backup plan. But watching you move on, seeing your posts, seeing you happy with her," she glanced at the kitchen. "It killed me. I messed up. I know that now. Please, just give us another chance. I'll do whatever. Therapy, prenup. I'll live wherever you want. I just want my husband back." Naomi looked like she wanted to disappear. For a second, it hit me. This was the speech I used to fantasize she'd give when I was crying on my mattress on the floor. Word for word. And yet all I felt was tired. I said, "If you'd shown up like this a year after the divorce when I was alone, I probably would have taken you back and thanked you." Her eyes lit up. But you didn't," I cut in. "You waited until he left and someone else was willing to love me properly." She stepped toward me, actually dropping to her knees in my hallway. "Please. I will not survive going back to that house alone." Naomi quietly put the stove on low and walked over. She slipped her hand into mine. "He's not alone anymore," her grip said. "I'm sorry," I told my ex. "Not for saying no, but for the fact that you're only begging now that the consequences finally hit." She looked at Naomi like she'd stolen something. "You're really going to throw away everything we had?" "You threw it away," I said. "I just stopped digging through the trash for it." Story 12. She begged for another chance in the most transactional way possible, through my HR inbox. We'd divorced 5 years earlier. No kids, just a long, exhausting marriage where she alternated between ice-cold and love-bombing. She cheated once that I know of. I left. She got the nicer car. I kept the house. Clean break. I moved on, changed jobs, worked my way into a decent corporate position. I didn't think about her much anymore, until an email hit my work account. From her name, subject, request for conversation, urgent. I almost deleted it, assuming spam or drama. Instead, I opened it. She wrote that she'd seen on LinkedIn I was now a manager in a company that had excellent health benefits. She'd been diagnosed with something serious. Treatment was expensive. She was between jobs. Then the kicker. "I know this is a lot to ask, but could we talk about getting remarried so I could have coverage? Even temporarily. I swear I will contribute however I can. I never stopped loving you. Please, I'm begging you. You're the only person I can ask." At first I was furious. Not because she was sick, but because the first time I'd asked to be on her insurance back when she had the good job, she'd said, "I'm not tying my benefits to someone who might hold me back." We agreed to meet in a coffee shop near my office. She looked smaller somehow, scared. "I know how it sounds," she said, hands shaking around the cup. "But this diagnosis, it changed me. I realized what I threw away. You were stable. You were kind. I was selfish. If you just gave me another chance." "You mean another chance at my insurance?" I said. "I mean another chance at us," she insisted, eyes filling. "Yes, I need coverage. But I also need you." I was too proud to admit it. "Please. I will sign anything. A postnup, a contract, whatever makes you feel safe." I looked at her, at the fear that was probably real, and felt this awful mix of sympathy and anger. "I'll help you," I said slowly. "I'll help you find programs, charities, maybe even float some money if I can. No interest. No strings." She blinked. "Then why not just—" "Because I'm not signing my life away again to someone who only remembers my value when they're drowning," I said. "You didn't want to share benefits when you were on top. I'm not being your safety net now." She started crying loudly enough that people stared. "So that's it? You're just going to watch me suffer?" "No," I said. "I'm going to help you as a human being, but not as your husband. That version of me died in the lawyer's office 5 years ago." Story 13. In my case, the begging didn't come after cheating. It came after lies. During our divorce, she went nuclear. Claimed I was emotionally volatile. Hinted at violence that never happened. Cried in court about how unsafe she felt. There was no evidence because there was nothing to prove. But the accusations alone almost cost me my job when HR caught wind of the rumors. Eventually, it all settled. No charges, just scorched earth. Our friends split into teams. Some never spoke to me again. I swallowed it, moved to another city, changed departments. I thought that chapter was sealed. Then, 2 years later, I got a DM on LinkedIn of all places. It was from her. "We need to talk, please. It's important." I ignored it. Next came an email, then another. Finally, a blocked number called my office and left a voicemail. She sounded panicked. Against my better judgment, I agreed to a meeting in a public park. She looked older, not in a time passes way, but in a life has been chewing on me way. "I messed up," she started, "back then, with what I said about you. It was my lawyer's idea, my friends. Everyone telling me to play hardball. I went along with it. I was angry. I wanted to win. I didn't think it would follow you like this." Apparently, she was now dating a guy with a high-level security clearance. During his renewal, they dug into her background. Those old court statements about domestic concerns popped up. Now it was affecting his career, his custody situation with his ex. "I need you to write a statement," she said, voice trembling, "saying you were never abusive, that I exaggerated, that it was just divorce drama. Please. I'm begging you. If you don't, he could lose his job, his kids. I know I ruined your reputation, but you're better than me. You won't let that happen, right?" That line, "you're better than me," was meant as a compliment, but it landed like a manipulation. "Be the bigger person so I don't have to face consequences." I took a breath. "Do you realize I almost got fired because of those lies? Do you realize my sister cut contact for a year because she believed you?" "I know," she whispered, crying. "I've been carrying it. I wake up sick about it. Please, let me fix this. Let me fix something." Here's what I did. I agreed to write a statement with the truth. Not the version she wanted, not a neat, "I was never hurt at all," but a factual account. That I had never been violent. That her testimony was exaggerated and made while emotions were high. She pushed for more. "Could you say you understand why I said what I said? That it was mutual toxicity?" "No," I said. "You begged for another chance to rewrite history because it finally affects you. You're getting exactly as much grace as I can give without erasing what you did." She started sobbing, asking if we could start over, now that she finally understood herself. I stood up. "You already used your second chance when you weaponized the system against me," I said. "This meeting was the third. You're not getting a fourth." Story 14. Our marriage died in the same place it began, our restaurant. We opened a small place together in our 20s. I cooked, she ran front of house, we split everything. It was our baby. Then the stress hit. Long nights, tight margins, online reviews becoming her obsession. She started saying things like, "If only I had a partner who matched my ambition." Enter the wine rep. Charming, well-dressed, very impressed with her vision. 6 months later, she was gone, leaving me with half the debt and all the staff. In the divorce, she fought tooth and nail to get her share of a business she'd abandoned. She walked away with a payout in him. I almost closed. Instead, I rebranded. Changed the menu, the name, the signage. Hired a manager. Worked like hell. 2 years later, a local food blogger wrote a glowing review. We got busy, then busier. One Friday service, my manager came into the kitchen. There's a woman out front asking for you. Says she used to own this place." I wiped my hands and walked out. There she was at the bar, staring around like a ghost in her own house. "You changed everything," she said quietly. "Yeah," I replied. "That was the point." She ordered a drink, didn't touch it. After a long pause, she said, "I watch your tags on Instagram, you know. Every time someone posts a picture here, I feel sick. This was supposed to be our success story." "It could have been," I said, "if you hadn't left in the third act." Her composure cracked. "I made a mistake," she blurted. "He was exciting but unreliable. We burned through the money. He cheated on me this time. I lost my apartment, my savings, everything. And you're here, living the life we dreamed about. I want to come back. To the restaurant. To you." She looked me dead in the eyes. "Please. I'll take a smaller share. I'll work as a hostess, a server, whatever. We can build again. You know we're good together when we're on the same team." A couple at table 3 was obviously listening. My sous chef peeked from the kitchen. "It felt like some twisted play." I said, "My crew here sweated through the bad years with me. They earned their place. You left when the building was on fire and now you want back in because it's finally warm?" She reached across the bar and grabbed my wrist. "I'm begging you, don't throw away what we had out of pride." I gently freed my hand. "You're not asking for another chance at us," I said. "You're asking for a percentage of the happy ending." Then, loud enough for my staff to hear, I added, "This business is no longer taking silent partners who disappear when it's inconvenient." My manager quietly walked her to the door. She looked back once, eyes wet. as the dining room buzzed with people enjoying the dream she'd abandoned. Story 15. She chose my father's funeral as the moment to beg. I still haven't decided if that was desperation or cruelty. My dad never liked her. Said she had weather-vane morals, always turning toward whoever was shining brightest. I married her anyway because I was 24 and thought love could out stubborn red flags. He was there when the marriage collapsed, when the affair came out, when she told me I was too sensitive about the whole sleeping with a coworker thing. He drove me to the lawyer, helped me move, sat with me on the nights I thought I couldn't breathe. Then he got sick. Fast. I spent months bouncing between work, the hospital, and my empty apartment. She didn't reach out once. On the day of the funeral, the church was packed. I was standing near the front, greeting distant relatives. When the doors opened again, I heard a collective murmur. She walked in, dressed in black, clutching white flowers like this was her movie. My aunt hissed. My cousin swore under his breath. She walked straight up the aisle to me, ignoring everyone's faces. I had to come, she whispered, for him, for you. Before I could step back, she grabbed my hand. Can we talk? Please. Outside. I should have said no. Instead, numb and confused, I followed her to the courtyard. The second the doors closed, she broke down. Ugly sobbing, words tripping over each other. I'm so sorry, she cried. About your dad. About everything. He was right about me. I thought I could do better. I thought I deserved more. And I lost everything. I've been watching from a distance, seeing you show up for him, for your family. You're the man I always wanted. I just didn't recognize it when I had you. There was a horrible pause where the only sound was the church bell. I want to try again, she said, stepping closer. I know I have no right to ask, but I can't stop thinking that if your dad were still here, he'd tell you to have mercy, to give me a second chance. I'm begging you, please. That's what snapped me out of it, dragging my dad's name in as a prop. I shook my head. You don't get to use him as a character witness now, I said. He watched you hurt me. He watched you walk away when I was broken. He told me, one day she'll come crawling back. When she does, remember how this feels. Her face crumpled. I know, I'm a terrible person, she sobbed, but I am crawling back. Doesn't that count for something? It counts as proof he knew you, I replied. He didn't ask me to destroy you. He just asked me not to forget. I opened the door back to the sanctuary. You can stay for the service if you want, I said, but you're here as a guest at my father's funeral, not as my anything. She reached for me one more time, whispering, please, like a prayer. I walked back in alone. When I gave the eulogy, I talked about how my dad taught me that forgiveness doesn't always mean reunion. She sat in the third pew, crying into her tissue as if she understood that lesson about 10 years too late. Story 16. Our second chance conversation happened in a bank office, which should tell you everything. We'd divorced 3 years earlier. She'd cheated with a coworker, then demanded the house because she needed stability. Judge ordered we sell it and split equity. I agreed, took my half, lived small, invested carefully. She refinanced to buy me out and kept it. Fast forward. My business does well. I buy a modest duplex with a yard, rent the other unit, live quietly. One day I get a call from a banker asking if I'll come in to discuss a joint option with my ex-wife. Joint. What? Curious and suspicious, I go. She's already there in a blazer that's trying too hard. The banker starts explaining how, with your excellent credit and income, we could potentially restructure the existing mortgage and avoid foreclosure. Foreclosure. I look at her. She won't meet my eye. When the banker steps out, she finally speaks. I was embarrassed to tell you, she says. I lost my job, the repairs were more than I thought, and I fell behind. But this doesn't have to be a disaster. If you could just go on the mortgage with me, we could save the house. We could start over. There it is. The real pitch. I miss our life, she adds quickly. You. The dogs. The neighborhood. I've changed, I swear. I know I messed up. Please, I am begging you. Let's fix this together. We were always better as a team, I ask. If the house were paid off and your savings were full, would we be sitting here right now? She hesitates too long. That's not fair, she whispers. What's not fair, I say, is that you tried to burn my future down and now you're asking me to chain it back to your mortgage. She starts crying, actually sliding her chair closer, whispering, please, I have nowhere else to go. I did, I answer. I had nowhere else to go when you walked out, and I found somewhere. You can too. Just not through me. I left the banker a polite no and walked out. She called after me in the lobby, voice breaking, but all I heard was the sound of my credit score refusing to die for someone who already killed my trust. Story 17. My ex tried to turn my life into an episode of daytime TV to get her second chance. We'd been divorced 2 years. No kids, just a mess of mutual friends who picked sides. She cheated, lied, took half my stuff, and posted breakup quotes for months. I went therapy, gym, boring healing arc. One afternoon, my sister sends me a link to a local radio station's Instagram. They run this segment where exes confront each other live on air. In the teaser video, I see my face blurred and her voice saying, "I just want him to know how sorry I am." I thought it was a joke. The next morning, they call me at work. Somehow she gave them my number. Producer says, "Your ex-wife wants to publicly apologize and ask for a second chance. Will you come on?" Absolutely not. I hang up. They air it anyway. She cries on air about how she pushed away a good man, how she got bad advice, how she'd do anything for another chance. My phone explodes with messages. That night, she shows up outside my apartment building. "You embarrassed me," I say before she can talk. "I embarrassed you?" She snaps, then softens instantly. "I just wanted a grand gesture. To show you I'm serious. I've changed so much. I see you on social media, happy, fit, successful. I can't stand that I'm not in that picture. Please, please, can we just go on one date? Let me prove it. I'll rebuild your trust. I'll sign whatever you want. I'm begging you." Neighbors are walking dogs, pretending not to stare as she clutches my hands like a rom-com heroine. "You went on the radio," I say slowly, "because you know if I say no in private, it's just my boundary. But if I say no in public, I look like a heartless jerk." Tears spill instantly. "That's not what I meant." "It's exactly what you meant," I cut in. "You turned my pain into content again, and you want me to reward you with a second chance?" She keeps repeating, "I'll change. I swear. I'll do anything," while dropping to her knees on the sidewalk. I just step back, unlock the building door, and say, "You already did anything when you chose ratings over respect. That's your second chance right there." Story 18. The begging started after my story went viral, which is the part people don't talk about. I made a throwaway and posted on Reddit about my divorce. No names, no locations, just the basics. Wife cheated with her boss, tried to clean me out, backfired. I rebuilt. It blew up. People made TikToks, reaction videos, think pieces. Comments roasted my ex without knowing who she was. A month later, my Instagram gets a DM request from her. "So that was you," it starts. I recognize the details. "Everyone at my job sent me the link. Do you have any idea what you've done to my life?" Apparently, even without names, enough coworkers recognized the story. Her golden girl image cracked. She got moved apartments. Friends stopped inviting her out. I replied once. Everything I wrote was true. She showed up at my place 2 nights later. Eyes red, makeup smeared. "I deserve this," she said before I could speak. "I know I do. I destroyed you. I lied about you. I treated you like a stepping stone." But seeing myself through all those comments, she choked up. "I hate who I was. I've been going to therapy. I quit drinking. I cut off that boss. Please, I am begging you. Let me fix this. Not just my reputation. Us. You're only here because the internet hurt your feelings," I said. "No," she insisted. "I'm here because for the first time, I saw you as the main character instead of background support. You didn't trash my name. You told your truth without even identifying me. That's more respect than I ever gave you. Let me try again. I'll sign a post-nup. I'll move anywhere. I'll do the work. Just don't let our story end with me as the villain." For a second, I felt bad. Nobody wants to be the villain in 10,000 strangers' comments. But then I remembered. I begged her not to blow up our marriage. I begged her to reconsider when she weaponized the divorce. She didn't care about my narrative then. "You're not begging me for another chance," I said. "You're begging me to rewrite the ending so you feel better about yourself." She stared at me like I'd slapped her. "So you won't even consider it?" "I considered it for years while you were busy being the hero in your own story," I answered. "This is just the director's cut." I closed the door. The next day, I locked the post and logged out for a week. The internet moved on. She didn't. Story 19. My ex begged for another chance with a deadline stamped at the bottom. Deportation. We met in her home country while I was working abroad. Whirlwind romance, quick wedding, visa process, moved to my country. Once we got here, reality hit. I worked long hours. She hated the language barrier, the small apartment, the lack of instant friends. She started going out with a group from her home community. One guy in particular. The messages I eventually saw weren't subtle. When I confronted her, she said, "I can't help where my heart goes. You forced me to come here." I filed for divorce before her permanent residency finalized. Her lawyer tried to argue I was abusive, but there was nothing to back it. She moved in with the other guy. 2 years later, I get a call from an unknown number. It's her. She's crying. Her relationship ended badly. as in police and protective order badly. Her temporary visa is about to expire. Can we meet? She asks. We sit in a park near my place. She looks terrified. If I have to go back, I have nothing, she says. My family disowned me for leaving. I burned all my bridges. I know I ruined what we had, but you're the only person who was ever genuinely kind to me here. Then, if we remarried, even just on paper, I could stay. I would earn my place this time. I'll work. I'll contribute. I'll sign a postnup that gives me nothing. Please, I am begging you. Give us one more chance. We can start over. There's a part of me that still remembers the scared girl at the airport, holding my hand like I was home. But I also remember her laughing with that guy in my kitchen, saying she never really wanted this life. You're not asking to stay with me, I say. You're asking to stay in the country. She flinches like I hit her. Is that so wrong? She whispers. You could save me. I already tried to, I reply. You called it control. She's crying openly now. Please. I swear I'll make it up to you. My government might be convinced, I say quietly. My nervous system won't. I leave her on that bench with her ticking clock. I still feel guilty sometimes. But I also know marrying someone who sees you as a passport is just a slower kind of self-deportation. Story 20. The last time she begged, it wasn't about money or housing or visas. It was about our daughter's memory of us. We divorced when our girl was 6. She saw more screaming matches than bedtime stories at the end. My ex cheated and lied, but I wasn't a saint either. I yelled, I slammed doors, I broke things I could have walked away from. After the divorce, I went full stability mode. Same apartment, same school district, therapy for both of us. My ex bounced around. New jobs, new boyfriends, new apartments. She was the fun parent when she showed up, then disappeared for weeks. When our daughter turned 10, she asked me point blank, "Did mom love you?" I answered carefully. She did. We just broke it. A month later, my ex texted, "Can we all 3 get dinner? I want to talk." We met at a family restaurant. Our daughter devoured mac and cheese while we made small talk. Then my ex asked her to go get ice cream from the machine. As soon as she was out of earshot, my ex leaned in, tears already forming. "I can't live with being the villain in her story," she whispered. "She's pulling away from me. I know I caused so much damage. But I've been sober a year. I've held the same job. I've been doing the work. I want another chance. With you. With us. We can show her that people can fix things. Please. I'm begging you." Years ago, I would have jumped at "we can fix this." Now, all I saw was pressure on a kid who just wanted peace. "If we get back together and it falls apart again," I said. "What story does that give her?" She grabbed my hand across the table. "We'll make it work this time. We'll go to counseling. We'll follow rules. I'll do anything. Don't you want her to see us happy together?" Our daughter came back, holding a dripping cone, looking between us hopefully, like she could feel the tension. I took my hand back. "I want her to see 2 parents who don't keep breaking each other and calling it love," I said. My ex's face crumpled. "So that's it? That's me giving her another chance," I answered, nodding toward our kid. "At a childhood that doesn't revolve around whether dad caves when mom cries." We walked out separately. In the parking lot, my daughter slipped her hand into mine and said, "I like us how we are. It's calm." That's when I knew her begging wasn't about family. It was about image. And I'm done sacrificing our sanity to save hers.